Today, real resilience isn't about pushing harder. It's about increasing how much discomfort your nervous system can hold. Welcome to Sacred Grit, a podcast equipping men to conquer addiction and overcome inner struggles through physical, mental, and spiritual disciplines so you can become a man of honor and integrity. I'm Jason Lyle. Now let's get to work. Today you'll learn resilience grows when you expand your nervous system capacity. Capacity increases when you practice sitting with discomfort, and a regulated nervous system makes disciplined living possible. This episode is brought to you by David Dodd, Edward Jones McDonough. What's up, my dude? Welcome back to the Sacred Grit podcast. All right, so let's jump into resilience, because resilience, everybody thinks about it like I need to push harder. Harder gets me further. But it's really not about pushing harder. It's about increasing how much discomfort your nervous system can hold. So there's this great book. It's a big, fat, thick book. Unless you just love to read, I wouldn't suggest it. But it is an amazing book called Widening the Window. And in the book, her entire premise is this: that the more capacity that we build to sit with discomfort, the more we're able to hold discomfort while we make a better decision back toward ourselves, okay? So when we think about nervous system regulation, I want you to think about expanding your nervous system capacity. So what it would be like is just like lung capacity or just like strength capacity, right? And I think I've used this illustration before, but if I want to run a marathon, I have to be able to raise my endurance. Let's just think about that word for a minute. My physical, mental, and my cardiovascular endurance. So I have to be able to move enough oxygen through my bloodstream to go for 26.2 miles. I have to have muscles in my legs that will support me for 26.2 miles. And then I have to have the mental wherewithal to be able to stay in that discomfort long enough to go 26.2 miles. And what this creates is the ability to make long-term physical feats possible because we train in small incremental ways. So if you think about running a marathon, you might start out running a mile, or you might start out running half a mile, and then you incrementally grow that up until next thing you know, you're running 15 miles, 18 miles, 19 miles, 20 miles, 21, 22, 26 miles. And what happens is we get this unbelievable capacity to be able to be uncomfortable running, to have the muscles to run, and have the oxygen to run. Okay. But here's the thing. Nervous system capacity increases when you practice sitting with discomfort. So in running a marathon, we're training for something. And in nervous system regulation, we're also training for something. Just like weightlifting is another great metaphor, right? The more I work that muscle, the more that breaks down, gets bigger, breaks down, gets bigger. Next thing I know, I can lift heavier weights. So my capacity increases of being able to take a load of nervous regulation discomfort in any given moment when I practice sitting with the discomfort. Now, one of the best tools for this is yoga. And I know you thought I was about to say cold water immersion, didn't you? But it's really, that is a great one. But yoga is another really good one, because if you can find yourself a really good yoga class with a good teacher that teaches a vinyasa flow or a hatha class, or if you're a beginner, maybe go to a chair yoga class or a beginner yoga class. And what you start to learn how to do in yoga is you increase your ability not only to get into harder poses, but to feel the tension inside of your body and sit with it while you use your breath to relax that tension. So you're not just running away from it. It's not like, oh, I feel tension now, I need to get away from it. I'm sitting with it a little longer. Then you go to class in another week or another 2 or 3 days. Next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I couldn't get into a full squat 3 months ago. Or, oh man, I couldn't do a headstand 6 months ago. Or, oh man, I couldn't hold, whatever pose it is 6 months ago. And you're raising your capacity, but also you're training your brain that when your body feels discomfort, that you can sit with it and breathe through it. And that is what nervous system regulation is, my friend, is that when you feel increased dysregulation, instead of running from it and going to your drug of choice, which might be porn, might be alcohol, might be, whatever substance that you use, instead of doing that, you breathe, you pause, then you choose in a different direction, and then you live. You choose to sit with that discomfort, okay? Now, a regulated nervous system makes disciplined living possible because what begins to happen is you're slowing down the volume of the nervous system. So, a lot of times, what happens to guys and gals, but what happens to guys is this: we have a feeling and then we have an action. So, if you think about hunger, it happens in our body before we think about it. We'll say, I'm hungry. Well, you're saying you're hungry because your body feels hungry. Or we might, have a sexual urge and we want to have sex or we want to masturbate, or we might have a craving for a cigarette or whatever. Those things happen inside of our body. It's not like we say, oh, body, I want a cigarette. The body craves it and then it tells our brain. When I regulate my nervous system, I slow down the signal from the body to the brain. And when that signal hits the brain, I can stop that moment and pause and look at it. Now, think about that with yoga, right? If I am in a downward facing dog, and if you don't know what that is, you can Google it. And the teacher's saying, we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. And I start breathing and my shoulders are burning and my arms start shaking and my knees start shaking. But I go, I can stay here for another breath. I can stay here for another breath. I am increasing my capacity. And as I increase my capacity in everyday life, I create the possibility to live a disciplined life. Now, we'll talk about a little bit more about this, or actually quite a bit more about this on Wednesday. But right now, I just want you to think through, what could your practice look like? There's a bunch of videos out there. I can't remember the guy. There's Yoga with Adrian. She's really good. There's a guy, though, that one of my friends use. But if you YouTube, yoga for men, you're going to find all manner of videos on YouTube, but a yoga class is a great place to start. And listen, I know you're probably thinking, I'm a dude, I don't do yoga, whatever. This will help you grow the capacity to increase your ability to sit with discomfort while you regulate your nervous system and make a disciplined life possible. Just go do it, my dude. You will be happy that you did. Think about it from a biblical standpoint. We're taught in the Bible, if you grew up in the Christian tradition, but it's not just Christianity. It's yogic philosophy. It's Buddhism. Your body is the temple. Your body is the temple of the divine that dwells inside of you. And if your body is the temple of the divine that dwells inside of you, then let's take care of the temple, man. Let's make this thing healthy. Let's make it to where we can feel those triggers and we can stop and we can breathe, we can pause, we can choose, and we can live. Now, my dude, today you learned resilience grows when you expand your nervous system capacity. Capacity increases when you practice sitting with discomfort, and a regulated nervous system makes disciplined living possible. My dude, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. If you drop down in the show notes, once again, you can always book a consultation call, and you can also pop on the website, thesacredgrit.com, and look at what all's coming up, retreats and other events. I love having you, love doing this, and love teaching these methods that have changed my life. All right, my dude, this episode is brought to you by MMB Dentistry, my good friend Jody Morgan. They have an office in Griffin, Georgia. They have an office in Zebulon, Georgia. They are the finest dentist I've been to, and I've been to a bunch of them. I had braces when I was a kid. I've been going to dentists my whole life. Lots of shots in my mouth, a lot of dental work, and they are by far the best I have ever worked with. MMBdentistry.com. All right, my dude. Have a great week. I'll see you on Gritty Wednesday.